3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the North Tonawanda Football Hall of Fame YouTube channel. Got another great guest today, the one and the only Erik Zorich, all Western New York, and also a member, 2010 member of the North Tonawanda Football Hall of Fame. Erik, thank you so much for joining us from your home in Amherst via Zoom. How's things going today?
Going great, Ed. Thanks a lot for having me on the show, on the broadcast. Appreciate everything you do.
Want to talk to you several things about your high school football years. You were very fortunate to play for David Anastasi and also Eric Jancy.
Yep.
Talk about those varsity years that you played from your sophomore year to senior year.
Oh man, some of the best and fun years of my life. And as I look back on my life, those are some of the years that I wish I can go back to and relive. Playing for Coach Dave Anastasi and the rest of his crew, they really believed in you. That's the main thing I remember from Coach Anastasi is he put a lot of his heart into the game, and he built people up. And he brought me on to the varsity squad when I was a sophomore. I was originally playing JV, and they called me up, and he told me that, Erik, I think you're going to be great here on varsity. And he was right. And he kind of put that empowerment in people. And then I got to work with both Coach A and Coach Jancy at the same time as I was developing, and a number of other coaches. But so I was just luckily enough able to learn from both of those guys. They're great football minds, the tradition and the history from Coach A, and the new strategy and philosophy from Coach Jancy. And as we all know, Coach Jancy had a lot of success. So it was some good years back then.
What was your preference, running back or linebacker?
I was always like a defensive guy. I got all Western New York for linebacker, and that's kind of what I like to do. Stopping the offense was just a lot of fun. Being 5 yards off the ball and crashing down and blitzing, and it was a lot of fun. Scoring touchdowns were fun too, but there's a lot of as I was a sophomore and junior, we had guys like Jeff Gain and Paul Crane and Brian Lawn and all these, Jason Howe, some really good football players, and I fit into the mix. But defense is where I really shined. My counterpart, Brian Lawn, was the other linebacker I played next to. He was probably the hardest hitting guy I've ever played football with, high school or college. And we had a lot of fun together. We sure did.
Describe a Friday night at the football stadium, and just looking into the stands and seeing all the people there.
Man, it's just pride just beaming from you, and that's one of the most favorite and memorable parts for me playing. And it's not actually the playing; it's the anticipation and the lead up to the actual game. The game was fun, but the other stuff was even more fun. Just the support that we got from the community, from the teachers, the coaches, from the student body, and all the parents, just made for an amazing atmosphere. And I can still remember today just standing on the sidelines, listening to the national anthem, and having the fans there supporting you, and your coaches there, and your family. That just made you feel special. You knew that you were kind of a part of something bigger than yourself, in a way, and part of a tradition that's gone back many of years, and then you were going to be part of that history.
How did Coach Anastasi and Coach Jancy differ on either their coaching styles or their approach, or the way they treated players?
Coach Anastasi. he was definitely more involved with the offense, but also had, the defensive perspective in mind. Um, he was a make you feel good kind of guy. And he, if you made a mistake in practice or in a game, he would come up to you and say, "Hey, it's all right. We'll get him next time." And just like a really good, just charismatic leader. And Coach Jancy, had those qualities too, but he's more of an analytical guy and really a student of the game, and learned a lot from him. And one of the things I really liked about Coach Jancy is that when me and Paul Crane were pumping iron in the weight room, Coach Jancy was in the weight room pumping iron with us. And he was getting us all pumped up and doing, 315 on the bench for 10 reps or whatever. And really, he was like involved in that aspect of the game, which was really cool, to be working out with your head coach and to see the passion that he had for the program, for the team, and to, put that effort in, because he didn't have to be there. He didn't have to be in the weight room working out with us, but he did. And him and Coach Karndoff, he was our strength and conditioning coach. We used to put us through some crazy workouts, but it was all a great, just great atmosphere. But those are the two main points I feel like from both of those coaches that influenced me in my playing years.
Under Coach Anastasi, were you doing the football camps like Fredonia? And were you able to, back then for 2000, were you going to the Indiana camps?
No, I kind of missed that era. I wasn't involved in any of that. I don't know. I'm sure if I was, if they were doing it then or not. I'm sure, if they were, I would have been right there doing it with them.
What type of summer workouts were there for you guys back then, by Coach Anastasi?
Back then, yeah, it was in the weight room. We had a lot of guys packed into that small weight room in NT High before they, expanded into the new one they have. I swear it probably was like not even 200 square feet of space, but we would be there all summer and pumping iron, listening to TNT by AC/DC and Eye of the Tiger by Survivor, and working out and doing some drills on our own. But then 2-a-days would start, and then that's when we would have some real fun out on the field, running our butts off.
What do you think back then made the NT program so successful?
It's hard to put one thing on it. I definitely accredit a lot of it to the coaching staff. I credit a lot of it to the support from the community and support from the Hall of Fame, because there's a lot of ancillary things that went into running a program that I wasn't aware of at the time as a player, but all the additional support that was needed to make the guys healthy and make sure they had a good meal the night before the game, and jerseys, and all the t-shirts the Hall of Fame used to give us and everything. So it was a collaboration of all those things. And probably if I had to boil it down to one thing, and maybe it might sound a little cliche, but it's probably love for the game, love for the tradition of North Tonawanda football.
Did Coach Anastasi ever talk about tradition in the program?
Yes. Yeah, he did. He especially around TNT time when we were going against Tonawanda, it's he reminded us that this is something that's been going on for a long time, and to really have respect for the program and to have respect for ourselves, because we were basically a representation of that. I do remember him talking a lot about tradition, for sure.
those TNT games were pretty intense. The rivalry's been there for, back then it would have been almost 90 years at that point.
Yeah.
What do you remember about those TNT games?
All right, my first memory from the TNT game is going there when I wasn't a player, and they were playing behind Lowry Middle School, and it had that big crown on the field. And I remember being on the Jacks sideline looking across at Tonawanda and seeing only the guys on the other side knees and up. I was thinking, oh, these guys are small, but the crown of the field was so big that you could only really see them from the knees up. And so that as a spectator, just being in awe at the size of the crowd, because there was just so many people there, and just being excited that I might be out of the field someday playing. And then, years later, as I went through NTAA football, got into the high school and started playing from them, just the whole atmosphere that week, going up to it, the excitement that the student body, the teacher body brought to the game, and the efforts that the school put in to make that week special, the burning of the jinx, that celebration that we would do the night before the game, the rallies, that type of stuff was just fun. I can't really put any other word around it. And then, going into the game, it was, it was a big deal. We had to represent our city, we had to represent our school, and put the best game we could forward to win and to do our best. And being a player out there on the field, just in awe of the number of people that were there watching the game, and hearing the crowds, and when your name's called on the score, over the PA system, there's people cheering for you and scoring touchdowns and making tackles, and just the fans going wild, the coaches going crazy, and that was just a lot of good fun. A lot of good fun.
A lot of trash talking out on the field at that point, in conversation between the teams.
Yeah, there was definitely some characters on the Tonawanda side. I don't really remember their names, but there were some guys out there that like to throw it down a little bit. But that's just part of it was just part of the nature of that whole experience. Certainly didn't have a hate for Tonawanda, but certainly a strong rivalry in those guys, and just wanted to show them what NT football was all about.
After you graduated from NT, you went to Canisius and played football there for a couple of years. You got hurt, and then the program stopped at Canisius, but you stayed. Out of curiosity, why didn't you transfer out and maybe continue your college career?
Yeah, I really the injury that I got was way more serious than I anticipated at the time, and I still have lasting repercussions from that injury. And I still remember to this day, like the play scheme and everything. It was the first play of the game, and against St. Peter's, and I was playing middle linebacker, and I filled the hole, and then everything was lights out after that, and that was the last day I played. So the injury was what was a major part too that kept me out. It was a serious injury, and also, I playing college football is tough, and I had made some really good friends there. Of course, I was there with my best friend playing. My best friend Paul Crane. We were roommates there, and so we got to hang out a lot. And he decided that he was gonna just stick it out at Canisius, and I decided that too, because it turned out my playing days were basically over after that play, and I really didn't think I could get turn down finishing out my Canisius education. So it was a tough decision. It was, but really was out of my hands, just because I couldn't play anymore. One of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with, really, um, as a loss, in terms of your abilities, to do something that you love.
I was going to ask you how hard it was to hang up the helmet and hang up the spikes. And
it was it was hard because I was in denial for a long time, and I had met with doctors and coaching staff, and you know even was filling out paperwork to make sure I still had my 2 years of eligibility, if I went somewhere else. And you know when when that when I was told I would never play again, it was a tough pill to swallow, because you never know. You're not expecting that game or that play is going to be the last time you're ever going to play. And it was a hard situation to deal with, because I had just aspirations of playing the rest of the season and playing 2 more years at Canisius, and really had a good feeling about the program turning around. And um, I was actually becoming the best football player I had ever been, at Canisius too. I finally understood how to read all the offensive plays and understand the schemes and pulling. And that last game, I was the most prepared out of any game ever. And I that was it. That was it. So it was tough, definitely tough.
if you're meeting somebody off the street, maybe a colleague at work, and you start talking about high school football, what would you tell them about North Tonawanda football?
Oh man, smash mouth football is what we were all about back in the day. Lining up in the wishbone, and hard nosed football too. You're gonna go out there on the field playing against Fancy. You're gonna take some serious hits. We're a tough team. Um, Still hope to say that now. I haven't been able to see any of the games recently, but I would still feel that that's probably true today. Um, just and on top of that, just the pride in the program that that is just that exists, and it comes from 100+ years of traditions, with the TNT game. And I can't see of any other high school game that's around here that draws thousands of people to a football game, to witness that. So I would say just special, very special.
Do you have any regrets about your high school career or college career?
Yeah, there's a couple of regrets. Um, I'm not sure.
That's okay. You don't have to
I
answer
can
the
pick out a
question.
couple of them. No, I'm just trying to think of how to answer it in a way that I will answer. Okay. Yeah, there's a couple of regrets that I have, and it was basically just not maybe believing in myself, having enough confidence in my abilities. I remember this one specific time as a sophomore, or maybe even a junior, playing under Coach Chansey, and one of the running backs got hurt or something, and I was just apprehensive to go in there and just fill in on the play and take over as a running back, because I just was more of a defensive player and I didn't really know the schemes. But so just not having that, I don't know, go after it and then just figure it out kind of mentality, I guess.
You were elected to the North Tonawanda Football Hall of Fame in 2010.
Yep.
What does that mean to you, or what was your feelings back then, or maybe what are your feelings today?
Well, there's still a great sense of pride today, and I'm trying to be as active in that program as I can. Um, I really had good fond memories of the Hall of Fame, interactions with the Hall of Fame as they supported the team. They always put on the spaghetti dinner the night before, and parents would volunteer. And I know there's just tons of people that were involved, but Paul Fry, was a guy that, really influential in that whole process, and believed in the kids, and wanted to take time out of his day and his life to support us. So it was special for sure. Just being part of it as a player, and Mr. and Mrs. Braun too. They were really involved when I was playing, and feeling when you were there at the physical location, you get to see all these plaques and names on the wall, and there's a couple times where I met some of the guys that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and so there's kind of this build up of just I don't know, specialness or awe about being a part of that organization, and the fact that it's an elite group of gentlemen that have played football in North Tonawanda, and really kind of exemplified what it's like to be a player, a high caliber player for the team. Makes you feel like a part of history too. Makes you feel certainly special and appreciated, because a lot of hard work went into playing in those days, and it was a really good experience. And still try to be. I know we can't have meetings in person right now at the Hall of Fame, but still try to be as active as I can over there.
For those young players, the varsity players and the junior varsity players that are watching this from North Tonawanda and any other school, what pieces of advice would you give these players in today's era?
I would say, can we swear? Probably shouldn't, but okay. No, I would say work your butt off. Okay, that's the first thing. I mean, no great thing comes without hard work. That's a major thing. I would say get in the weight room, put in the time in the off season, build yourself up. Don't wait for your coaches or anything to say, hey, get into the weight room. Take the lead on your own life, and improve yourself as much as possible. That's a major thing I would say, because there's so much growth and development that can happen in the off season, especially with the ages of these kids as they're developing, and going from 15 to 18. There's a huge jump in weight and strength, and all that happens in the off season. You're not gonna really put a lot of strength on during the season, because you're getting beat up every day in practice and playing the game. So work your butt off. That would be the major thing I would say. And listen to your coaches always. These gentlemen, and have been putting in a lot of time to create a better player that's in you, and listen to your coaches 100%, and respect them for sure. And then don't take it for granted. Just what happened to me is that you might think that you're going to be the biggest star coming up out of North Tonawanda, but something could happen, and you could get hurt. So on those days that you're thinking that I don't want to practice hard today, or this game we're getting blown out, which I hope that doesn't happen, but I'm not going to give it my all. Give it your all. I would say that just go 100% all the time, because you really don't know when you're going to be out of this game. You really don't. And you might not think of it now, but looking when you're almost 40 like me, and you're looking back on your life, and you're going to say, those were some of the best times in my life. I wish I could go back there. So no regrets.
How supportive were your parents during your high school football years?
Yeah, my parents were amazingly supportive. In my speech when I accepted the Hall of Fame award, I talked about this extensively, because I wouldn't have been as good of a player if it wasn't for them. And yeah, forever grateful. for sure. Yeah, they put a lot of effort in.
How would you
So
how would you deal with it if you were facing a COVID situation like today, and you're not playing fall football, but you're playing spring football? Would it make a difference to you?
I think I would just be really happy to be out there on the field again. My heart goes out to all the players out there that missed their senior year of football. Just it's got to be crushing. And you know, I think I would just be overall just happy to be, back in a team situation, playing the sport that you love and having fun. So certainly joy there and relief that we are hopefully coming to an end with the situation that we're in, and that there's better days ahead for everyone. So optimism for sure.
Erik Zorich, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. We get to talk a little bit more than we did previously. I wish you well. I wish you good health, you and your family. And I want to thank you once again for joining me here on the North Tonawanda Football Hall of Fame YouTube channel. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you for everything you've done. Appreciate it.